Have you ever felt like you're just scratching the surface in your relationships? Like there's a whole world beneath the surface of the people you interact with every day, but you can't quite reach it? Well, you're not alone. In our fast-paced, digitally driven world, truly knowing someone has become something of a lost art. But what if I told you there's a way to change that? A way to dive deeper, to really see people for who they are, and to let them see you in return. Enter David Brooks' latest book, How to Know a Person: The Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. This isn't just another self-help book gathering dust on the shelf. It's a guide to rediscovering the profound connections that make life rich and meaningful. And it's caught the attention of some pretty big names. Bill Gates himself recommended it as a must-read for this 2024 summer. So, what makes this book so special? Why should you care about knowing a person in an age of quick texts and fleeting social media interactions? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. Buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey that could transform the way you relate to everyone in your life, from your closest loved ones to the stranger you meet on the street. Let's start with the foundation of Brooks' approach: deep observation. Now, you might be thinking, I observe people all the time. But Brooks is talking about a different level of seeing. It's not just about noticing someone's new haircut or the color of their shirt. It's about tuning into the subtle nuances that reveal a person's inner world. Imagine you're having coffee with a friend. They're telling you about their day, but instead of just hearing the words, you're noticing how their voice changes when they mention a difficult meeting at work. You see the slight furrow in their brow, the way their hands tighten around their cup. These are the details that Brooks encourages us to pay attention to. It's like becoming a detective of human emotion and experience. But here's the catch. This kind of observation requires us to be fully present. In a world where our attention is constantly pulled in a million directions, Brooks argues that giving someone our undivided attention is not just polite, it's revolutionary. It's about putting down our phones, silencing our internal monologue, and really focusing on the person in front of us. It sounds simple, but in practice, it's a skill that takes time and effort to develop. Now, let's talk about empathy. A word we hear a lot, but what does it really mean in the context of knowing a person? Brooks dives deep into this, explaining that true empathy goes beyond just understanding someone's feelings. It's about stepping into their shoes, seeing the world through their eyes. Imagine for a moment that you're trying to understand a friend who's made a decision you disagree with. Instead of jumping to judgment, empathy asks us to pause and consider. What experiences have shaped their perspective? What fears or hopes might be driving their choice? This kind of empathetic understanding doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone, but it opens the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. Hand in hand with empathy comes compassionate listening. This isn't just about hearing words. It's about creating a space where the other person feels truly heard and valued. It's the difference between waiting for your turn to speak and really absorbing what the other person is sharing. Brooks offers practical tips on how to become a more compassionate listener, from asking open-ended questions to reflecting back what you've heard to ensure understanding. Speaking of questions, let's explore how the right kind of inquiry can unlock doors to deeper understanding. Brooks emphasizes the power of open-ended questions that invite reflection and story sharing. Instead of asking, "How was your day?" which might elicit a simple, "Fine," try asking, "What was the most challenging part of your day?" Or, "What made you smile today?" These questions invite the other person to share more of themselves, to reflect on their experiences in a way that reveals their values, hopes, and fears. It's about moving beyond small talk to create conversations that matter. And here's a pro tip from Brooks. Pay attention not just to the content of the answers, but to how the person lights up or becomes more animated when talking about certain topics. These are clues to what really matters to them. Another big idea that Brooks explores is human complexity. We all have a tendency to put people in boxes: the strict boss, the flaky friend, the overachiever. But Brooks challenges us to see beyond these labels and recognize the multifaceted nature of every individual. Think about yourself for a moment. Aren't you different in different contexts? Maybe you're reserved at work, but the life of the party with your friends. Perhaps you're confident in your professional life, but insecure in romantic relationships. We contain multitudes, as the poet Walt Whitman said, and so does everyone else. Brooks encourages us to approach each person with a sense of curiosity and openness, ready to be surprised. This mindset not only helps us understand others better, but also creates space for people to grow and change in our perception of them. It's about seeing people not as fixed entities, but as evolving stories. Speaking of stories, Brooks emphasizes the power of narrative in truly knowing a person. Our lives are not just a series of events, they're stories we tell ourselves and others. When we share our stories and listen deeply to the stories of others, we create profound connections. Think about the last time someone shared a personal story with you. Didn't you feel closer to them afterward? That's because stories give us a window into someone's inner world, their motivations, their struggles, their triumphs. Brooks provides guidance on how to create spaces where story sharing can happen naturally and how to become a better listener to the stories around us. But sharing stories requires vulnerability, and this is another key theme in Brooks' book. Opening up about our own experiences, including our failures and insecurities, might feel scary, but Brooks argues that this vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's the key that unlocks deeper, more authentic relationships. When we're vulnerable, we give others permission to be vulnerable too. We create a space of trust and mutual understanding. And it's in these spaces of shared openness that we truly get to know each other and ourselves. But Brooks doesn't stop at individual relationships. He extends his insights to the community level, arguing that these skills of deep knowing and understanding can transform our broader social fabric. Imagine a workplace where people truly listen to each other, where empathy guides decision-making. Picture a neighborhood where people take the time to understand each other's stories and perspectives. These aren't just nice ideas. They're the building blocks of a more compassionate, cohesive society. By fostering deeper, more authentic relationships in our daily lives, we contribute to building stronger communities. It's a ripple effect. Each meaningful connection we make has the potential to spread outward, creating a network of understanding and empathy. As we wrap up our exploration of how to know a person, let's reflect on why this matters so much, especially now. In a world that often feels fragmented and divided, the ability to truly see and understand others is more than just a personal skill. It's a social necessity. Brooks's book is a call to action, challenging us to slow down, to engage more deeply, to really see the people around us. It's about moving beyond the surface-level interactions that dominate so much of our lives and rediscovering the profound connections that make us human. Whether you're looking to strengthen your relationships with loved ones, improve your professional interactions, or simply become a more empathetic person, How to Know a Person offers practical advice and profound insights. It's not just about knowing others better. It's about creating a life rich in meaningful connections. So, are you ready to take the plunge? To see and be seen more deeply? Pick up a copy of David Brooks' How to Know a Person and start your journey towards more authentic, fulfilling relationships. After all, as Brooks reminds us, the people around us are not puzzles to be solved, but mysteries to be explored. Happy exploring.